The steady stream of people paying tribute tonight to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg just outside of the Supreme Court. Look at all of that. The memorial is a testimony to her iconic status for millions of Americans.
And new at 11, we're hearing more personal stories, this time from someone who not only clerked for her, but was married by her.
ABC 7's Tim Barber now is live outside the Supreme Court with this all new for us right now at 11. Tim?
And Jonathan, you know, this memorial has been growing throughout the weekend. You could still see people here saying their goodbyes. And it smells so fragrant out here because there are so many flowers out here amongst the pictures and messages of love in front of the Supreme Court.
She was always the quietest person in the room, and yet she had incredible power because she always spoke from a very deep place.
GW law professor Paul Schiff Berman witnessed Ruth Bader Ginsburg's quiet power when Berman clerked for the Supreme Court justice in the 90s.
There was not a word, not a punctuation mark, not a citation that she herself did not labor over, edit, change.
When Berman married, Justice Ginsburg officiated. The ceremony was long before Ginsburg was christened the notorious RBG.
I think it's extraordinary how she became a pop cultural figure. And I actually think that she really liked it, in part because it allowed her to speak to a younger generation.
Judging by the memorial of the Supreme Court, Justice Ginsburg spoke volumes to the younger generations.
The opportunities that we had would not have been possible without Justice Ginsburg, and being able to share that with our daughters and try to impress upon them how much change has happened, because of Justice Ginsburg was hugely important to us.
One of the things that she has taught this country is that discrimination hurts everyone.
And you can see the messages written in chalk extend out into the sidewalk. This one says, "Thank you for fighting every day." Right below it, "Rest in power." Reporting live in front of the Supreme Court, Tim Barber, ABC 7 News.
Tim, thank you. And inside the Supreme Court, a tradition dating back to 1873. These images released late tonight show Justice Ginsburg's chair draped in black. So far, the court has not announced plans for a public service. We did just learn, though, that Georgetown Law, where Ginsburg's late husband was a professor, is planning to host a virtual remembrance ceremony tomorrow night. New images just in right now from inside the Supreme Court. A black wool crepe over Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's chair and the bench in front of it. The doors to the court also draped in black. That 147-year tradition inside the court as a memorial grows outside.
And that's where we find ABC 7's Justin Hinton live tonight. And Justin, that's just one of many ways that people are honoring this icon.
That is absolutely correct, Jonathan. You take a look down here, this memorial stretches maybe another 50 feet or so, and this is the side of the Supreme Court. It wraps all the way around into the front of those steps. You can see the sheer number of people who have gathered here at this hour. The police actually blocked off parts of First Street. They made it a one-way street in case those crowds moved onto the street. They wanted to make sure that those folks were being safe. But like you said, this is just one way folks are paying their respects. Earlier today, we caught up with muralists who did what they do to pay respect and to honor her with tributes. Rose Jaffe couldn't have foreseen what her artwork would come to mean 1 year after she completed it.
I couldn't think of a better way, for this art piece to have grown into the memorial that it is now.
Its own public art piece with sticky note messages dotting the robe of a woman whose legacy lives on in those who admired her, including the artist herself.
Mural arts and street art is kind of a more male-dominated field, and I think, I feel like I can attribute some of my success to someone like RBG, who's really paved the way for women and kind of women's justice everywhere. I hope that it galvanizes support for people to really be engaged at this point.
The same way this mural, less than 10 minutes away, came to be. Part of Under Armour's Run to Vote campaign in partnership with the Paints Institute.
We heard about the news late Friday, but we had already began. And then Saturday we came back out here and we was like, all right, we got to do something big, something bold, just to honor her.
And the collaboration between Sean Perkins and David Zambrano just grew from there.
More of just free flowing.
It just was based off energy, and we would switch sides and we would switch movements and assist. And
next thing you know, you back up and you got the whole masterpiece.
What we did here is kind of indicative of the process as it should be in general. You know, you can bring different age groups, different backgrounds, different things together, and come together for a singular purpose and be successful at it.
He says speaking to love, unity, and so much more that Ruth Bader Ginsburg represented.
Well, that is 11-year-old Micah Blay playing the shofar outside the Supreme Court over the weekend. It was in honor of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He and his family dedicated much of the weekend to paying tribute to the pioneering civil rights leader. And we're very happy to have Micah with us alongside his mom, Dana Marlowe. So welcome to you both. Good to see you. Hi. Hi. So big weekend. And Micah, it looks like you are quite the star out there. How did it feel playing the shofar in public this weekend?
It was definitely kind of scary, and I've only blown it in front of this amount of people a few times before at our school. During the holidays, our school blows the shofar, and you can come and bring your shofar to blow. So I always went with my shofar and I blew it.
And we hear there were about 250 people, is that right? And you were blowing it in front of all of those people? How many times did you have to blow it?
How many times, each burst?
Yeah.
So the shofar has a specific cadence where you're doing a couple short bursts, like 9 really small ones and then a very big one. And I would say he probably did that grouping of sounds, at least somewhere 8 or 9 times, because every time he would stop, somebody from further away would hear, this is the shofar or this ram's horn, and it's an ancient Jewish musical instrument, and he would honor them by doing it again, because it's a good deed in the Jewish religion to hear the shofar being blasted out on Rosh Hashanah, which was Saturday.
Wow. So can we ask you, Micah, to play it for us this morning? I see you have it there with you. Give it a toot for us. Wow, this thing is long.
It's long.
Wow, you must have a lot of wind to be able to play that. So take us through, Dana, this weekend and how this all came about and why you wanted to go out there and pay tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
So Ruth Bader Ginsburg is one of my heroes as a feminist icon, as a change maker for society for decades and decades. And her death coincided on Friday night with the start of one of our most important, highest holidays for Jewish people, Rosh Hashanah, which is the start of our Jewish New Year. And we were literally dipping ceremonial apples in honey to represent a sweet new year when my phone started blowing up. And I thought, this is a really strange time for all these people to be texting me, because a lot of my friends were also celebrating the same customs. And I wondered what was going on. And when I saw the text and I read up a little bit and I learned of Justice Ginsburg's passing, I was compelled to do something. It was shock and heartbreak, and I couldn't believe it. But at the same time, Justice Ginsburg wouldn't want me to just sit idle. And in the Jewish tradition, and I brought a few today here, I'll try and show them. When you're going to the gravesite at a cemetery of somebody who's passed away, you leave a small stone. And these are not big stones. I collected them by our creek, right? I have a handful here. They're not very large at all. I went down and I said, I'm going to go pick up a bunch of stones, and I'm going to put one, as we do ceremoniously, traditionally in Jewish custom. we do it on the gravesite, on the headstone of somebody who's passed away. In this case, I just said I'm going to leave it at the Supreme Court steps, out of the way, so that it's not, I don't want anybody slipping or falling on it, but I just felt like that felt right. And I shared it on my Facebook page, and I also said, we have a Hebrew prayer called the Mourner's Kaddish. And the Mourner's Kaddish is a prayer that honors a person who's died. It's said for bereavement, and it's said multiple times during the year, during a day, for Jewish people, but it's definitely said on the Rosh Hashanah holiday right now. And I said, I'm going down. I printed out a dozen copies of the Mourner's Kaddish in English and in Hebrew. And I said, I'd like to take my sons. And my aunt said she wanted to come, so she came. We drove down. We all wore multiple masks in the car, had the windows down.
And Dana, let me stop you there and ask Micah, what did this weekend, paying tribute to the late Supreme Court Justice, what did that mean to you?
Going down to the Supreme Court, it meant to me that we were doing like the right thing, and that this woman, she was a great person, and we should light some stones to remember her at like the graves.
Lovely tribute. Well, we thank you both for sharing your weekend with us, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way you do about honoring the late Supreme Court Justice. Thank you so much for joining us today, Micah and Dana.